All right, guys. The question is, can you buy a less expensive, dependable truck these days? Typical answer is no, in most cases. But we got a couple examples, and I wanted to get a bunch of them lined up. As a matter of fact, we might just jump in the truck and go up the street to our service shop so you can see some others. But under $20,000 just doesn't get you much these days. $15,000 surely doesn't get you much these days. But I want to show you guys a couple things to look at, because most people's resort this time of the year is they go buy a hunting truck, a winter truck, around the house truck, and they go on Craigslist or Facebook, and they typically, because they end up with us, you know, in the service shop or Daniel at the off-road shop with problems. So I'm going to kind of try to show you guys a few things to avoid in the same process, show you a couple of trucks you can buy that are less expensive. And this Dodge is a perfect example. So let's jump in there and go for a ride and do that. All right, guys, so we're in a 2016 Ram 1500. I prefer my Chevrolets, but you know, I don't mind a Ram when everything's operating good. And these year range trucks are plagued with common problems. The Rams have a ton of ticking, clicking noises from the motor, from lifters and other things. The transmissions were not the best. We all know Chevrolet didn't have the best transmissions through those years. But this is the price point of what people want to buy. This truck right here is $15,995. Now, as we've showed you guys before, it's been to a third-party shop to do an inspection. We also did an oil change. You can see the oil change is current. 140,000 miles. So not too terrible on the miles. A very well-loaded truck. Now, another thing that people forget is a basic truck these days starts at about 60 grand. You know, a four-wheel drive, crew cab. You can't buy a very inexpensive truck at the dealer these days. And then, of course, if you start going into 3/4 ton and diesel, you can spend $100,000 on a pickup truck, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So to get in a truck that has no check engine lights, no warning lights, no codes, that has a fresh safety inspection for Virginia, and Virginia's picky, the oil's been changed and it's ready to go, there's something to be said for that. It's really, really, really tough to do, though. And if you want a square body that's less expensive, Suburban there. But brought you a little quick clip earlier in the shop, pulling up again now. The Silverado sitting in front of us, that's a lifted 1500, power steps, 120,000 miles, getting service and inspection in a ball joint. There's another one, another white one. I don't know where they parked it. That's getting ready to be done. But if you take the look around this truck here, or we'll walk in there and look at that one, 20-inch wheels, good tires, not all banged up, very well loaded inside, side steps, four-wheel drive, spray and bed liner. And again, this truck, give you a perfect example too. When it came in, needed ball joints, tie rod, alignment. Of course, it got the oil change. I think it got some brakes or rotors, a couple light bulbs. There was something else on the list. So $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 worth of repairs. I mean, they text, say, hey, JW, truck needs da-da-da-da. Okay, no problem, do it. Truck's done. So you're not just buying something that you got to go and get inspected. If you buy it from your neighbor and your neighbor says, oh yeah, it's good, you know, I just changed the oil, whatever. Well, when you go to get inspected, if you're Virginia or if you're Carolina, whatever state you're in, you have an inspection, then you get hit with that bill. That deal wasn't so great, was it? And then you got to pay retail on that bill. And then they're probably going to pick it for something else, of course. But the cool thing with this one is it's not rusty. Like I said, it's just an example of a less expensive truck. So yes, you can still buy it. Used to be you could buy a cool truck for 5 grand. Then it moved to 10 grand. Then it moved to 15 grand. Then it moved to 20 grand. And of course, this time of year we get guys, why would you buy a truck like this to go hunting out of? That's too nice of a truck. Well, if you're driving around in a 2024 King Ranch or a High Country that cost you 100 grand, this is a great alternative to go hunting. It's still not some old wore out Toyota like everybody likes to find. It's not some old Cat Eye 1500 Rust Bucket Chevrolet. It's an actual nice truck that's dependable, and not just for hunting. Like I said, a nice vehicle for the family for 4x4 in case you drive a couple, maybe you drive a couple minivans, you need a 4x4 truck for the winter. It is really, really tough. So if you're going to show up and you go look at a truck at somebody's house, climb under it, take it for a test drive. if they say, oh, I don't have tags on it, you know, you still go around the block. What's going to happen? You might run into a cop. Check the truck out. Climb underneath of it. Climb under the back of it. Look up at the bed. See if it's got rust. You know, this truck could be rusty and somebody just sand this and paint it and it looks good for now. Look under it. Actually climb under and look at the truck. Make sure. That's one thing we do when the trucks are on the rack. We're looking for things like that. Pop the hood, check the oil, check the fluids. Simple due diligence that people don't think about these days. Even at dealerships. A lot of dealerships in other states, they're not required to inspect a vehicle. They surely don't service them. It's simple etiquette that goes a long way, the way we do it. And again, I'm not saying others don't. There's plenty of others doing it the right way. There's a lot doing it the wrong way when it comes to these less expensive trucks. We all struggle to get them. I'm very thankful for the connection that we have where we get a lot of our supply because at auction, it's not the place to get them. They're wore out junk. I told you guys the other day, you know, we sent one of them that didn't pass our process to the auction. I would have sold that truck for 12 grand on the lot, but it had a transmission issue. It had a couple other issues. I sold it as is, let it go. I didn't want any parts of it. Another dealer bought it, 15 grand. So big money. You know, 3 grand more than I even wanted for it. What is that dealer gonna do? They're gonna turn around, sell it somewhere else, probably just patch it up, sell it again, broken. It's unfortunate, but that truck's gonna be circulating out there somewhere. And it's gonna be a lot more money, of course. So we can walk in here real quick. He's doing the ball joint on this Chevy. We gotta do an exhaust repair, change the cabin air filter. Reminder, guys, change your cabin air filters. Very important. And again, this truck needed a lower ball joint. It's gonna need an alignment. No problems getting done. It's got the power steps, got a 6-inch lift kit. You can see the oil. It's already got a GM oil filter on it underneath. We try to use factory stuff. It's getting a new air filter. TJ, did you save the air filter, the dirty one?
It's still in the floorboard.
Oh, it's in the floor? All right, no big deal. I'll show you. Actually, AJ can put a clip in it. Hey, he can clip it. Cabin air filter reminder. These things are, pretty much all vehicles have it nowadays. It's one of the things we do check, and they're very typically neglected. It's not as, that's why I said we just would clip it in. Oh well, let's walk down here real quick.
You opened the door, huh?
Yeah, he opened the door. And this one's getting headlights because the headlights are sweaty, foggy, nasty, ugly, deteriorated. So not cheap to do that, but at least they won't do that again. Yeah, he made a mess. The power steps didn't help him. Look at the effort we go to give y'all guys a video. There you go. AJ cussed on YouTube. So that's a pretty original filter, but again, it's not gonna hurt the motor. Like, that's not air filter for the motor, it's just air filter for the cabin. That's what you're breathing. Most people forget it's in there. The air comes from right there. If it sits and leaves and debris fall down in there, that's what catches it. So don't forget your cabin air filters, guys. Another little pet peeve of ours. That's pretty much it. Less expensive trucks. Yes, you can still buy them. You want a stock one, you want a lifted one, it doesn't matter. Like I said, this one's still got to be detailed and some other stuff done, but it's going to be an affordable truck. The Ram, I've been driving it for 2 days on and off, just when I have a chance to run the errands because it's got fuel in it. It's been sitting out there with the keys in it, so that's a good truck. You know, it's $15,995, decent ride. $19,995 on this one. It's on the website already. Again, go finish up the repair work. We'll get out of their way so they can do their work. Thanks, guys. Stay in touch.